And I grew up with an alcoholic father. And because of that, it changed the way I look at a lot of things in life. And it always made me want to be better. My father always told me that the only thing a man has is his word.
Come on.
I live by that.
Yes.
If you say you're going to do something, you better do it because people are watching you. And if you don't do it, next time you say something, it's like crying wolf.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in this episode of The Everyday Leader. Now we have the honor and the privilege to have my friend. We've known each other for a lot of years, and I'm honored and I'm proud to have him here, share with each and every one of you. So, Jose Pantoja, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jose. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank
you
you for inviting me. I'm excited about this.
Awesome. No, we're excited too. I mean, we're living in some crazy times, right? We're hearing a lot of news, a lot of reports. Some are true, some are exaggerated, some are not true. And it's causing a lot of fear, right? More fear than what people are already experiencing. And it's causing them to remain on the sidelines. And I want to have this conversation with you. People are taking a passive approach, basically waiting for someone to save them, whether that's the government, whether that is their friends, someone to save them from their circumstance and from their crisis in their own lives, And I believe that this crisis worldwide has really allowed people to really either reflect and to isolate themselves in order to reflect and see how their life really is going, right? So with that being said, that's the route that I want to go in with this conversation. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your childhood like? Where did you grow up? What was your family and support system like? Just tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know a little bit about who Jose Pantoja is.
Well, my background, I grew up in the city of Trenton, New Jersey. I was born and raised there all my life. I grew up with Hispanic parents who came from Puerto Rico, couldn't speak lick English, couldn't speak any English, had no education, basically second grade. My father, my mother, she went to junior high school. That was a lot. We had our issues at home. I spoke to another friend of mine who interviewed me in reference to my background, and I grew up with an alcoholic father. And because of that, it changed the way I look at a lot of things in life, and it always made me want to be better. So my father, even though he had some issues, he stopped drinking when I was younger, so I got to experience both sides, and I got to experience the bad side, which it wasn't bad towards me, but it's basically bad towards himself, because alcoholism, you're destroying yourself trying to cover something up or have an escape from something that's hurting you immensely. So right. I experienced that a little bit, which basically he really didn't take it out on us, but it was there, and it broke my heart to see that. And then I got to see the better part of him, which is he came out of that situation and he tried hard to be a better person. So I got a little taste of both. And grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, 2 sisters, made it out, made it here, and I'm grateful for it.
I know that you are a retired detective for the city of Trenton, New Jersey. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about what made you get into law enforcement, and what made you get into being a detective.
Believe it or not, I mean, growing up as a child in Trenton, you would see the police officers, you saw the car, the uniform, the authority, just the respect. Growing up in a Puerto Rican household, there was always a very high respect for law enforcement. My parents always, they saw a police officer, they were grateful, they appreciated it, and they instilled that in me. And I think subconsciously, maybe that was part of the reason why I got into it. It represented something good. It represented someone who was out there to help you in a time of need, and I guess that drew me to that profession. And I was working. I took the exam. Before I took the exam, I prepared myself for it. It's something that I desired, something that I wanted. I focused on it, and I did it. I did it for 20 years.
20 years, and then you recently retired. Right? How many years you been retired?
I retired in February of 2018. After 20 years, I had a total of 20 years completed in law enforcement. I did just under a year with the Mercer County Corrections Department. Wow. And after that, I was hired by the state of New Jersey. I went to the New Jersey State Correction Academy, graduated that, worked for the state of New Jersey Correction Department, and then five 5 months into that, I was called and hired by the Trenton Police Department, where I finished off the last 18 years of my career.
Wow. That is awesome. You know, and a lot of people don't know that. So what was that tell us a little bit about what was that transition like from, you know, doing something for 20 years, you know, and transitioning out of that? Like, what was that transition like for you, like emotionally, mentally? What was that transition like for you?
It wasn't a difficult one. I gotta be honest with you, because I always planned for it. It wasn't something that just happened. I
Right.
planned for this. When I went in, you know, I had a mindset that within, you know, 5 years was my goal. I wanted to become a detective, and within the first 4, I had that title.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, everything that I've done, I've mentally set the mental picture, and I've worked towards it. And I've been blessed enough to be able to network and make the proper connections with people that have allowed me to basically obtain the thing that I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you had a successful career in law enforcement. What's even amazing now, you know, a lot of people retire and they go to the beach somewhere and they, you know, you never see them again. What's interesting is that in the short time since you've been retired, you know, you started 2 businesses, not 1 business, right? It's hard as it is to start 1 business, but you started 2 businesses. And so I want to ask you, you know, how do you program yourself to not only dream about these things, but how do you go after them?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm of the belief. This is my belief, my personal belief, that if you say you're going to do something, you got to do it.
yes.
That's it. My father always told me that the only thing a man has is his word.
Come on.
So I live by that.
Yes.
If you say you're going to do something, you better do it, because people are watching you. And if you don't do it, next time you say something, it's like crying wolf.
It takes courage to see a vision, and not only see that. A lot of people see a vision for their life, right? I believe, and we believe, we're both, you know, same religious background. So our faith really dictates a lot of how we view the world. But like a lot of people, they see a vision, they see a calling over their life, and it stays right there, right? They don't move in that direction. So it takes courage to go after your vision, to go after the dreams, to chase after them and do great things. So I know for me, anytime I'm starting something new, right, I go through my own set of doubts that I have to walk through and talk myself through and overcome those doubts. And, you know, sometimes I hear in my mind, what if that doesn't work? What if it fails, and things like that. And I believe it's related to the fear of failure, right? So this is common, and it's something that I, along with many other people probably who are listening, struggle with. Now, what are some of your greatest doubts that you find yourself needing to overcome as you ventured into these things that you've started, your businesses, you know, and reinventing yourself again?
This might sound crazy, but I haven't come into anything that I've done with any doubt. That was not part of my thought process. So I did it believing and knowing that it was going to be successful. I never had any doubt that it wasn't going to be anything less.
Yes.
So I had that clear picture of what I wanted. I had the plan of how I was going to obtain it. And then I had that emotional feeling of what it was going to feel when I got there. And exactly the way I planned it out is exactly the way it has happened.
Yeah.
So I haven't doubt. I mean, I can't say that I have. I'm not being cocky or arrogant. It's just that when I put before I retired in 2018, my daughter was working at a couple smoothie franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been into health. You know, I like physical fitness. I was a personal trainer at one time. I like to eat healthy. I like to take care of my body. I believe it's the vehicle that God has given us to be able to do and help the people that we help. This is the vehicle that God gives us, so we have to take care of the body. That's just the way that I believe. So my daughter was working for a couple of these smoothie places, and I actually looked into buying into those franchises. But when you buy into a franchise, you got to go by their rules, and I don't like to go by other people's rules.
Come on.
That's just the way I'm programmed. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obedient and I do what I have to do. I follow the law, but
of course,
if I don't have to do it and I can find a better way to do it, then I'm going to find that better way to do it.
Yes.
So basically, I sat down with my daughter at the time, and we thought about it. And there was a lot of fees, a lot of money to buy into these franchises, and I had to do whatever it was that they wanted me to do. I couldn't do my own thing. So basically, me and her sat down, and we came up with a concept. We came up with a game plan. We came up with a business plan, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do my own. And here we are. I'm sitting in my smoothie bar now that I've been open for over a year now. And right now, during these times, it's very difficult because of the current situation in our nation. But I'm here, I'm making the best of it, and I'm going to continue to move forward, and I'm not giving up.
That's awesome. So what would you say to people watching that are dealing with, we're dealing with this crisis in the world? What is the first step that they can take on the road to achieving their dreams and finding the success that they want?
I tell people this all the time, man. The first step to anything in life that you want is that you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, no one's going to make you believe it. You can go to the pastor, you can go to the priest, you can go to a counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. And if you don't believe what you want to be possible, it's not going to happen. So to me, the first step is what we call faith, is believing that you can do whatever you set your mind to do. You have to believe it. So I believed everything that I set my mind to do. And once again, believing that I can do it, I've done it.
Yes.
So to me, that's the most important part of you obtaining anything that you want. And you know this from personal experience, Jose, is believing that you can do it. Absolutely. And a lot of people can't get past that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And sometimes we are our worst. We instead of feeding that faith, instead of feeding that belief, and we talk about this all the time, instead of feeding that belief system, we feed the fear, we feed the doubt, we feed why it won't work, right? And we can tend to blame other people or say we're waiting on something to happen in order to move in that direction, right? But you're right, you're totally right. It starts with belief. So what's one thing that a person can do to start creating that belief in themselves, in the dream that they have? And I always tell people, whether if I'm coaching someone, I always tell them that your actions, right? What you do is a demonstration of what you truly believe. A lot of people just talk, right? But your actions is the demonstration of what you truly believe. And your current circumstance in life right now is based on what you said, based on what you've been believing, what you've been not only believing, but what you've been doing based on what you believe.
I just think you have to really, really find out what it is that you want. You have to find out what it is that moves you, what it is that brings you happiness, that find out what it is that makes you happy. And once you find that, it automatically changes everything, because we're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for peace. And there's something that you were created for, that when you do that specific thing, it brings all that to you.
Yes.
Find out what that is and focus on it. And if you focused on it, and because it makes you feel great, you'll start to believe and you'll start to move in action towards it. And eventually you're going to have it.
So speaking of that, now we have an event together coming up May 2nd that is going to help people shift their mindset, right? And to achieve their biggest goals in the midst of the chaos that's going on in the world right now. Tell the listener, the viewer, what is this event and why they should be there?
Well, this is what I believe, right? And I've learned this through personal experience. And sometimes people tend to look at people who are wealthy or people who are successful, and they kind of look at them like in a way where it's not good. They look at like, that person thinks they're better than I am, or that person drives around in this and they take advantage of us. I don't look at people like that. When I see somebody who's successful, when I see somebody doing something I want to do, I get closer to them. I want to find out how they got it so I can get some too. So I don't get mad at them. I rejoice and I learn from them, and I apply those principles that they've applied to their life, to my life, and there's proof that it works.
Yes.
So I believe that if people have hit a plateau, have hit the ceiling, they can't move forward in their dreams. You told me this one time, you have to find people who are doing it and learn from them. Find out how they've done it so that you can do it too. And I guarantee you that if you approach someone who has done something you want to do, they'll be excited to teach you, because that's wealth. That's good stuff that you want to share. You don't want to keep that for yourself. You want to share it with people. You want them to be productive. You want to see them apply the things that you've learned and help them to be successful. I can't explain it in a better way, man, because what you want, you can have, but you have to get around people who have it. If you're running in a circle, you're only going to be as good as that circle. Get out of that circle. I read a book and it said that if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room.
Yes. Well, listen, is there any last word, message that you want to share with the person listening to this and saying, you know, I'm hearing you, I hear what you're saying, but I'm still on the fence about taking steps to change my life. What would you say? What's one last thing that you would say before our time together?
I think the more you think about things, the more you change your mind. I don't think you could dwell too much, man. I think if you have a great thought, the mind is programmed this way, man. There's greatness inside of all of us. We have beautiful things that God placed in us that are just dying to come out, because if they come out, they're going to help people. But a lot of times we have been programmed by our conscious mind, by negative things that have been said to us, disappointments in our lives, things that we have failed at. So this great idea, this great thing rises inside of you and you feel emotionally great. It's that emotion, that feeling of joy, right? And you get that feeling, but as soon as it hits your brain shuts it down. You can't do that. Remember you did this and you failed. Remember you did that and you failed. Remember your mom told you weren't going to accomplish anything in your life, and it shuts that spirit man down, and it causes you to let that dream die. Don't do that, man. I think that what we need to do is get around great minds, people who have accomplished great things, people who have accomplished things that we want, and learn from them. And then what we do is we feed the conscious mind. And once the conscious mind and your subconscious mind get together, they become one, and there's nothing you can't do.
That's good. That's good advice. Friends, if that doesn't change your life, I don't know what will, right? But we want to invite you personally. We want to invite you May 2nd. The details are in the description below. Make sure that you sign up. If you're trying to change your life mindset, change and achieve your dreams, achieve your goals, you got to get around people who are in that direction, who are there. And so come learn, come listen to our stories, come see what we have to share with you. So we want to encourage you to come. We want to encourage you to sign up. And if you're listening to this after May 2nd, make sure you stay connected, subscribe, because we're going to be doing a lot more events together. So Pantoja, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And thank you for sharing valuable information with us.
No, thank you for having me. And real quick, I just want to share, for those individuals who are out there listening to this podcast, this interview, listen to me. I'm working alongside Jose. I've seen Jose's progress in life. Everything he said, everything that he wants, he has done and he has been able to accomplish. So if you want to get around someone, if you want to learn from someone, he's the right person to do it, because not only has he said it, but his actions has proven it.